So at this point, we've created our client, we've created a new plan, and now we're able to start adding new strategies. There's several ways to do this. First of all, you may want to send out a client questionnaire. You could go to your settings bar in the top right, go to questionnaire, and customize that template. And then you could choose to send the questionnaire to the client either through an email or for them to log into the portal. Typically the email is the best way to go, and hit send. Once that comes back, it'll show up in your questionnaire tab on the left. So let's say that you've gotten these questions back from the client and you're ready to create your plan. We'll click over the plan name to get started. Coming very soon, there will be an attachment button here towards the publish area, and it will also be able to read and analyze and suggest strategies for you to add to the plan. At the moment, it's a bit of a manual process. So you would just click the Create New Strategy button towards the top right. We would select the strategy, whether it's for the individual taxpayer, their rental property, their kid, or a business. These are the related parties that you added earlier. And then we would select the strategy. It automatically fills in details like whether the strategy tends to be recurring or not based on our strategy library, the start year, the end year if there is one. The plan amount tends to be the deductible amount, and the marginal rate tends to be what you would use to associate the tax savings. We could also associate the state rate. There's custom rates that you can add to the bottom if you needed to. And we'll go ahead and hit save to create that strategy. Now you'll notice several different buttons here. The goal task date is something you can fill in once the client has engaged you for the work. So we're not there yet. But once you are, you can fill in your goal task date. It would produce a blue little T, which would open up the task and allow you to assign that internally, assign client to-dos, and see checklists. The R is whether it's recurring strategy or not, so you can check that. The D would let you duplicate a strategy within this plan. The two line items are your notes. These are very important for you to remember. 30K is what we calculated as the like-kind exchange deferral amount. And then your pencil sign is just going to allow you to edit the strategy, going back to that pop-up screen, and the trash can obviously deletes the strategy. You can click over the name of the strategy to open up the strategy library educational content, an overview, notes for the accountant, opportunities and risks, additional resources where we have preferred vendors and vendor discounts, checklists if they apply, client to-dos, any firm customizations you want, and then any templates that might be associated to that strategy. Now you can also, after the fact, click the actual button and put in what really happened. So every year when you're revisiting this client situation, you can say, okay, well, this actually ended up being $29,500, and then you can show that and reflect that on your reports. There's also notes at the top, general internal notes for the plan. You can update your client disclaimer. Rates, this is what we'd set up when we created the tax plan, but you can edit these or add to them. Fees, important, you want to get paid for your work, right? So you can use the suggested fee calculator or just click add new fee. And we always recommend that you offset the fees that you charge here with what they'd be paying for the work otherwise. So let's say that you're pitching someone a tax plan that includes their 2023 tax return prep. I would put in their value price fee here based on the savings that we've produced in the plan. You can choose the tangible and intangible benefits based on complexity, urgency, risk, etc. And it'll actually suggest different fees for you. You can put in that fee here and what year it goes to, any description that you want, implementation fee for plan, including tax prep, and hit add. But we'd also add a new fee to offset that with what they were paying before just for their tax return preparation. And that's going to help you with your ROI. There's also a cash flow module. You can actually add new cash flow items. Now, the third parties is added in the main client info screen. So if you want to produce a cash flow projection for your client saying, hey, I need you to fund this 1031 exchange. Let's pretend Fidelity is the third party provider that's the qualified intermediary. We need to make sure that they exchange that $200,000 for that transaction, and they're the sender, and we pop in a payment date and add that. You've got this full timeline feature that would then reflect all of that data for you to produce for the client. Now, if you do need to add new third parties or add related parties, any of those basics, just go back to the main client info screen. And from here, you can choose edit. You can edit your related parties. You can add to your third parties. So maybe I should have said qualified intermediary, Jane & Co. for our like kind exchange, other, update that. And then I could go back into my client plan, go back to my cash flow area, and I could edit with a little pencil and correct this to that other third party. So I would keep adding new strategies. You want to try to have a good, 3 to 5 strategies that you can pitch with a plan. So let's go ahead and add a couple more. An accountable plan, the plan amount would be what you think you could deduct each year. So let's estimate that at $5,000. And we can add another strategy. Let's say we need entity selection. And we've calculated out of a separate worksheet or using Jane, the chatbot within TaxPlanIQ. She's helped us figure that we think we can save our client about $7,000 a year straight out through entity selection. Now, you're still in a proposal phase at this point in a lot of cases, and so you don't want to put too much work into it, but you want to have a good 90 to 95% idea as to what that estimated savings would be. So don't pick any federal rate, and it'll just automatically take that amount word for word or number for number. So I'm thinking I can save the $7,000. That's what I produce here, and then I would hit save. And that's how you add your strategies. There's also a projection assistant, which we will be expanding on quite a bit, but it allows you to work with your tax prep software and add your prior year data, your current year projection from the tax prep projector, and then you can create quarterly estimates here, assign them to the client, and you can actually get suggested strategies here. So if you need help with ideas, you could come in this screen and see, oh, okay, yeah, this client has dividends. I'm looking at their 1040. I'll click the little suggestion box and select that strategy and add it this way, and then that would flow over to the client's plan. This tab is completely optional and something that we'll be automating quite a bit in regards to the numbers and data that we import for you from other places. So for now, focus on the plan detail and strategies area, and then we'll take a look at our finalized reports.